The following video is not suited for children.
Hello? Hello? Hey, welcome to your first night at your new job here at Mr. Live's Burger and Fries. No matter why you're here, be it overdue rent, you owe the wrong people money, or simply a loss of common sense, we welcome you as our new staff member. Now, I'm pretty sure you know the drill. Our animatronic entertainer, Mr. Live the Lion, likes to walk about at night for no evil reason at all. And if he gets into your office, it'll do something bad. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe if you look into the lore of this place, you'll find out the real mystery behind the disappearance of Lionel Evil and like 7 kids. But that's for internet nerds to figure out and make hundreds of BS videos on, and...
Bloody rent. It's a bunker. Who am I even paying rent to? Yeah, as you might have guessed, I've taken up a part-time job to cover the bills, and apparently being a YouTube film reviewer doesn't pay as well as you think it does. The job's not too bad. The only problem with it is that bugger outside.
I know you're in there, pal. Open the door. I want to play with your kidneys.
It is much freakier in person. My best strategy right now is just to keep these doors shut and hope I can come up with a better plan to survive the night.
You won't. And then I'll play your ribcage like a xylophone.
You know, this situation feels familiar.
What are you talking about?
Big animatronic attacking helpless night guard.
Please don't say what I think you're about to say.
It's just like Five Nights at Freddy's.
And now the tension is gone.
You all remember how FNAF blew up? Scott Cawthon was a humble indie game developer and animator making children's games and animations, teaching them all the good Christian values. He started his career in the 90s, but none of his games reviewed well, and by 2014 he was on the verge of giving up game design altogether. Critics panned his games and would often remark how the characters would look like creepy animatronic robots. Scott, having had enough, decided to spite the critics and make a simple horror game about being attacked by killer animatronics. He dumped it on Steam and was about to give up entirely when a few popular Let's Players posted videos of them screaming at it. Then came Game Theory taking a stab at the lore, and suddenly it exploded in popularity. Scott then just said sure and made another game later that year, blowing up the series even more. Then another game, and another, then a book, and 3 more games, but we don't talk about that one. And before you know it, Scott had made a massive complex horror franchise with deep lore, interesting characters, and a bunch of memes.
Exotic butters.
Let's Players played it. Artists made art, and Game Theory proceeded to milk the lore for about 41 videos. Its simplicity helped show other developers how much atmosphere and tension can be built using nothing more than still images and a few sound effects, and the fallout of the game's impact can still be seen in other indie projects today. The games have amassed quite the following, and just like all massive fan bases, it produced many musics, spin-off games, and fanfiction, as well as its maybe more than fair share of questionable fan-made content. Anyway, the laws of nature dictate that when a fanbase grows to a large enough scale, Hollywood producers will swoop in and secure the film rights to the property. And that they did. A movie based on the games has been in the works since 2015, but has gone through countless rewrites and ended up with Scott taking over script production. Shooting is currently meant to take place in spring of 2021, so let's keep our fingers crossed. In the meantime, fans have been getting restless at the lack of a FNAF movie, and my guess is that one fan by the name of Go Parsons just so happened to be in the position to give the fans what they wanted. Obviously he couldn't call it the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, so instead we got...
It's birthday time!
As soon as I saw the trailer, I knew I had to review it. It was meant to be released in cinemas in October of 2020, but had to be pushed back and released on Amazon in February of this year because the world said no. Five Nights at Freddy's was a massive part of my life in high school, so this falls under the category of nostalgia. The IMDb states this is not a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but let's be real, it's got inspired by FNAF practically written all over it. It's about a guy spending the night in a family restaurant with a sketchy past while the animatronic entertainers freely roam around trying to kill him. The only real difference is one of them is a tense survival horror, and the other one has Nick Cage in it. Hopefully, reviewing this film will help me figure out a way to escape from the current situation I find myself stuck in. The only option in FNAF was pray you don't die, so fingers crossed this film will present a better solution.
Go ahead and stall for time. I'll still eat your giblets.
I'll survive, damn it. I'm also going to do my best to keep this spoiler free because I highly recommend watching it with as little information on it as possible. We ready? Okay, if you've seen the trailer for the film then you pretty much know the plot. Nick Cage ends up blowing out his tyres in the middle of nowhere and has to clean up an abandoned Chuck E. Cheese to pay for the damages. Obviously the animatronics are possessed and come to life in an attempt to kill him, leading Cage to fight for his survival and learn more about the dark past of the restaurant. It's a straightforward story and there's not much to complain about. There's also this side plot involving Emily Toaster about how her family was killed in the restaurant, but the film doesn't really seem to care about it. In fact, the film doesn't really seem to care about its world building at all. It does the bare minimum needed to explain why everything is happening, and all the backstory is explained in 2 flashbacks. My guess is as soon as Nick Cage got involved, the writer knew nobody was going to take this film seriously, so they put all their effort into Cage's character and covered the rest by reading horror writing for dummies. Hell, all the cannon fodder side characters can be found on the slasher trope list. We got the asshole, the guy who's too nice for his own good, the bitch who's not actually that much of a bitch in hindsight, the black stoner guy, and the regular black guy.
She gave you a bucket? Bitch is wicked.
Oh yeah, and 2 of them have sex in the restaurant.
Is it weird that I'm getting really turned on right now?
Oh yes it is!
The story does have its moments though. The side arc of Nick Cage restoring a pinball machine during his breaks is actually rather enjoyable to watch, and now that I say it out loud it sounds really weird. There are 2 black characters and neither of them die first.
Progress.
The pacing manages to stay consistent, and while the exposition dumps are somewhat boring, they don't throw off the overall flow of the film. Where the film falters is in its characters though. I don't think I can remember the name of a single human character from this film. I found myself struggling to empathise with any of them, on top of the fact they were just annoying or simply not interesting to me. Writing convincing characters is a very difficult thing to do, and I feel the writer chose quantity over quality. When you think of survival horror, you think of isolation and being trapped and alone. Here, the addition of 6 lemmings to be thrown into the wood chipper makes it less of a thriller survival horror and more just into a bog standard slasher. There isn't much I can say about the acting. Some performances were good, others weren't. Most of the lemmings gave a convincing performance, the policewoman was believable if hard to like. The only 2 actors worth talking about are Nick Cage and Emily Toaster. Toaster's performance is without question the worst of the whole cast. She sounds like she's always whining and pouting and only ever seems to stand to one side and watch the action take place. There are moments where she does get to fight back, but I never really got the impression she felt in danger. Likely because she's the most stone-faced actor I have seen in a long time. Seriously, you guess what emotion she's trying to display in this shot. Now how about this one? Or this one? Is she confused? Mad? Hungry? She gives a decent vocal performance, but she could physically be replaced by a shovel with some googly eyes stuck on and you'd get similar results. On the other side of the coin, you have Nick Cage. His status as a living meme often makes people forget he's actually a pretty good actor. He wanted to play a silent character throughout the movie so that can make him seem a bit cold, but there are also moments of genuine emotion and character that bleed through into his performance, and it's impressive to see that come through when a good 80% of the sounds he makes in this film is just... And before you ask, yes, he does give us the batshit Cage rage we all know and love.
You know who else is gonna be screaming? You, once I find a way in.
Bugger off.
Make me, little man.
Oh god. On a technical level, the film has its ups and downs. Given the budget was roughly $5.5 million, I'd say they did alright in terms of set, sound, camera and CGI, but it isn't all perfect. The cinematography can be somewhat weird at times, with the camera being set at random angles for no reason, or the frequent use of fisheye lenses. My guess is they were used to make the restaurant seem warped and not appear quite right, but the shots end up feeling weird on the eyes. There's also another moment where they cut from a shaky cam to a station stationary back to shaky, and it's very jarring, but not a deal breaker. On the other hand though, we do get some clever uses of the camera, such as the scene that takes place in a room lit with a strobe light. The editing in most scenes is done well, and it does help create a general sense of disorientation without losing me. I have a strong appreciation for the use of practical effects where possible, and the fact the animatronics were real, but sometimes the fake blood is clearly fake and the CGI used is obviously CGI, so you can tell where the budget ran out. I have no complaints about the sound editing apart from the fact the film does the random loud noise over a cut trick a few times. The soundtrack actually slaps though, a mix of organs, generic horror tones and good old synth. To draw the connection even more to Five Nights at Freddy's, it has its own Living Tombstone-esque style song about the plot of the film. Seriously, listen.
They're the same picture.
I guess it's as they say, imitation is the highest form of flattery.
I hope you want to flatter Princess Diana, because you're gonna be imitating her real soon.
I'll survive your bullshit, you'll see. Okay, what else? The movement on some of the animatronics gives them a freaky alien quality, so marks for that. The sets and backgrounds are well made, packed with some nice little details. Oh, and the setup and payoff is well done. Aside from that, I can't really say there's much else to talk about, so I suppose that leaves two questions. Who gets the Goodest Boy Award, and is this film worth watching? Goodest Boy Award obviously goes to Nick Cage. Why wouldn't it? Now, is this film worth watching? I wouldn't call it a horror film because I wasn't scared once sitting through it, which would be a killing blow for any horror picture, but I don't think that's what Willy's Wonderland is going for. I've been trying not to spoil it, not only because it's just been released, but also because it is worth watching. It's just pure classic campy fun. Hell, it's literally about Nick Cage going Rorschach on a bunch of Chuck E. Cheese knockoffs. What more could you want? You can tell it was made by a small-time production company on a tight budget, but they did their best. I would have paid to see this on the big screen. Me and my roommates got a good laugh out of it, so surely that's my seal of approval. Yeah, the writing isn't going to win an Oscar anytime soon, and the acting can be lackluster, but that's not why you're watching it. Nobody watches National Treasure or Ghost Rider for a serious story. They watch it because it has Nicolas Cage in it beating two children's entertainment robots to death to the tune of heads, shoulders, knees and toes. Yes, that is a thing that happens in this film, and if that doesn't make you want to watch it, then I don't know what will. So in conclusion, if you like FNAF, cheesy horror flicks, or just watching Nick Cage rage, then watch this film.
Speaking of conclusions...
Oh yeah, you're a thing.
I'm about to conclude the story of your life.
Well, there's the thing. I think this film has shown me another way out of this situation.
Oh really? And what is that?
Pure, unfiltered violence.
Huh. Go ahead. You won't survive.
Oh, I'm not going to survive. I'm gonna live. Ah! I guess violence can be the answer. He talked big, but he was no monster. The real monster here was me all along.
Do the like and subscribe thing. And I'll see you tonight.